And then that would have been when?
Oh, I couldn't just tell you right when that was.
How long did you work in the silk mill?
Oh, off and on, I had worked in a couple of times.
Well, were you 65 when you quit, or
At 67.
67? Well, let's see, 19, that would have been about 1948 somewhat, when Miriam died. And then what did you do after you retired? I mean,
oh, I had worked around places. I had worked at Charles Troxel. Wow.
helping in the planing mill, or?
Yeah, part-time there and part-time carpenter.
So you were a carpenter too?
Yeah,
We talked earlier about your brother Russell.
yeah.
How much younger was he than you?
And he was 3 years, about 3 years difference.
3 years difference. So if he'd be living now, he'd be 89 years old.
Yeah, he's 89.
But he died when he was fairly young.
50 years.
50 years of age he died.
Yep.
But we know that he established a planing mill right down here, which has been recently torn down.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the Historical Society had the foresight to get some pictures of it inside and out before it was tore down. And rebuilt now. But from what I understand, Russell bought that building from Jim Wine.
Yeah.
You know anything about that?
The barn over here.
Yeah, over where Jim Esler's
Yeah.
butcher shop is now.
Yeah.
There was a barn that Jim Wine had set up,
Yeah.
and Russell tore it down and rebuilt it into was the planing mill.
Yeah. Yes, he did build it.
And then Paul Klein bought it just recently and put a barn up.
Is that what they did with it?
Yeah, there's a barn up by Paul Klein's now. So it started out as a barn, became a planing mill, and now it's back to being a barn.
Was a barn in the start, now a barn again?
Right.
I didn't know. I knew that he had bought it, but I didn't know what he did with it. They said he hauled it up there, but
Yeah, yeah. Why, Russell, was he involved in your lumber operation at all? You say you and your brother, but
Yeah,
that would have been
yeah.
your brother who?
Yeah.
Banks or Russell?
yeah, we were together.
You and Russell
Yeah.
were together in the
In
sawmill.
business. Yeah, we had a mill together.
And then he went on after,
He went in the planing mill business then.
yeah, well, that was about in the late 1930s or early 1940s.
Yeah.
That he built that down there.
Now, I had sold my share to him, and before I went and arrested him then. And he had another job though that he sold afterwards, I found out.
He continued to operate a sawmill.
No, he didn't have the planing mill yet when he had this last sawmill, or the last job. Not till after that he had cut that, then he built the planing mill.
So did
He
he?
had a planing mill and lived up here too.
Yeah.
And
Well, did he sell his sawmill operation?
yeah, he sold it.
You
I don't know to who. I never
Uh-huh.
found out who bought it.
Uh-huh. So in any event, he was in the planing mill business, and then of course he died, and then his widow Blanche, I guess,
Yeah,
sold that planing mill
yeah.
to what was it, the Federal Boys?
Boys, yeah.
And then later on it was Sailor and Mattern,
Sailor and Mattern.
and then it later became just Sailors.
Sailors.
And then some young fellow bought it just toward the end. I don't.
But it felt like a wonder.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Does anyone present know what that young fellow's name was? That
Thomas.
I never found out.
Thomas. Mr. Young Mr. Thomas.
Young Mr. Thomas.
Yeah, was the fellow who had the planing mill at the end before it ceased to be anymore.
Had he built that house down there, or did Taylor build that there?
Which house? The one below the planing mill?
Yeah.
Well, I don't believe Mr. Thomas was involved with that. And I don't know, I really don't know how that house came to be there. Why, when you were a young fellow living in Benfer and going to, was it Bickle School?
Yeah.
I would imagine a trip from Benfer to Beavertown was quite an occasion. You probably went mostly to Beaver Springs, though, in those days.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you must have come into Beavertown, too, when you were a young fellow.
Oh, yes, I come to Beavertown. I knew pretty all the old people, but now I don't even know them.
Well, there is a change going on, that's for
Yeah.
sure. But do you remember some of the stores that were here when you were a young man?
Oh, yeah.
Could you tell us who some of them were?
Well, I know at the wisest store was down there at the corner.
Where the old post office?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The old Wriggles.
Yeah, he was in
Had
that.
one.
Right.
I don't know right who had the one that I ever had at that time.
Well, that depends. Back in, it might have been Simon Rhodes's father when you were a youngster.
Yeah.
It might have been Mr. Mattern. He had it for a while before I left. I really wouldn't know who.
Yeah.
Maybe even Mr. Barsox had it yet when you were a youngster.
He might have. He might have had it.
I think he probably did. Because we're talking in the
Barney Ryan had it.
Barner Ryan. Well,
He was in a while.
No, didn't Barney Ryan have the store up here where he lived, though?
well,
But there was a store building in there.
yeah, that was originally Mosey Spate, and then the Winey brothers took that over in 1898, the year you started the school.
Uh-huh.
The Winey brothers took it over, and then later on it went to a lot of different people.
Yeah.
Charlie Walker and Roundy were in it, and Bob Young, and when you came to town, do you remember the first time that you ever came to Beavertown?
No, I couldn't say that.
When you did come to Beavertown, was it on a horse and buggy or an automobile?
Walk.
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 Is that the way you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And what road did you take? What was the roads that were available?
Huh?
What highway or road did you use in those days?
Oh, like down, come to Beaver Springs and then come down here. Sometimes we come down the back road.
Over with the back road, is it the same as it is now?
Yeah, that's the same.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But those roads, the back roads weren't paved in those days, were they?
Oh, no. Oh.
But Highway 28, that is.
This here wasn't even paved here when I was a kid.
It wasn't.
Oh, no, no.
Mhm.
This wasn't paved till. Well, I was in the restaurant up here when they made this concrete road up here
Yeah.
at Beaver Springs.
Uh-huh. That was, I think we have a dedication, we have a whole program on the concrete highway. It used to be called Route 28, and then it was changed to Route 522.
522.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're 92 years old now.
92.
Yeah.
92.
And
Till June yet. If I live till June, then I'll be 93.
93. Well, in the days, but mainly you were in the lumbering business and then in the restaurant business.
Yes.
Perhaps sometime we can talk to you about the ins and outs of the restaurant business, how today it's McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken, and it's quick and fast, and people are in and out. But I imagine when you had it, it was, they'd come to loaf, they'd come to tell stories and kind of visit with one another, and it was a much more relaxed thing than
But
it
I'll
is.
tell you, I had it through the Depression.
You did have it. Did,
I had a hard time making it.
I imagine so.
Yeah.
Did the people, but didn't the people mainly come just to have a place to visit with one another?
Well, not too much, not too much.
They came to eat a meal and,
Well, the eating business wasn't good. You didn't get many meals.
well, how did you make it go?
I changed ice cream,
Uh-huh. From what to what?
and that's what put me on the spot. That stove. They put it up in pints, and I got 15 cents a pint.
Yeah. And that helped you.
That helped me out.
In other words, that was a Hershey's brand, wasn't it?
That was the Hershey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the Hershey.
So your ice cream business, more or less.
Oh, yeah, I sold a lot of ice cream. Well, that was the cheapest in town.
Yeah, it was good ice cream.
Yeah.
Many people, I certainly remember Hershey brand ice cream. In fact, we used to be able to go and buy a half pint. They had some kind of a machine that cut it into 4 pieces, and then you could put
Well,
it
I had
between.
that too. I had it.
You could make a sandwich out of it,
Yeah.
or you could buy a half pint
Yeah.
or a pint, and you know, there's different.
I had got a quarter. They had given me a quarter. Opened it up and put it in there, and then I could cut it.
Did you also have a soda fountain?
Huh?
Did you have a soda fountain?
No, I hadn't a soda fountain.
You didn't make CMPs and
No.
nothing like that? How about milkshake?
Yes, I made milkshake.
But no,
No, I had no soda fountain.
you're presently living with Ruth, is that her name?
Yeah.
And she is the
No,
correspondent.
you mean, no. Yeah, now.
Yeah.
Yeah, now.
She is the correspondent for the Middleburg Post.
Yeah.
And has been for 20 years, the
Yes,
correspondent.
yes,
She's
yes.
the one who supplies the news on Beavertown.
Yeah.
I sincerely hope we get a chance to interview her sometime on her newspaper experiences over 20 years. But listen, I believe that we're going to conclude our interview with you right now for the time being, but perhaps we'll have a chance to chat with you again. And I want to thank you very much for your insights and memories of 92 years. So thank you again, Mr. Benfer, and so we will conclude this particular interview on October the 3rd, 1983, and we will be having another interview very shortly. Thank you again, sir.